Good morning, everyone. This is Tara Lee Live, and we are live on YouTube. And we are here with my co-host Drake, and we are here with Josh and Kelly. Well, actually, Kelly right now with DragonFly Earth Medicine. And I'm getting feedback. Hold on just a minute. Didn't mute that. Okay, there we go. All right, welcome. Hello. Kelly, what are you smoking on today?
I've got a purple punch happening, and this is from Amanda and Brandon out at Garden of Greece. Got the seeds from them, and we've been working on this varietal for a while. So still smoking on last year's sun grown, and it is amazing. Just opened up like a gorgeous new, jar that had been sitting around for a while, and it popped it, and it smells like better than it did when we put it in.
Awesome, amazing. Drake, what are you puffing on today? And welcome.
Welcome, and cheers, everyone. Make sure you're on live chat, not talk chat. And I'm going to jump in on some ice cream cake hash rosin. Nothing too crazy, but a nice little dab to start the morning off right. So I'm excited. And the show is going to be great. Just a little touch base and garden update and session with Kelly. We always love it when we're blessed with your guys' presence. So thank you so much for coming in as always.
Yes, I'm super excited. Oops, sorry.
I mean, whenever I get a chance to hang out with you guys, it's always awesome. So I just, Tara Lee had said, hey, you want to get on? And I was like, yeah, that would be a good time. So I'll have a bong hit with you guys, and watching for the first morning out here. Beautiful, amazing blue skies. The smoke has cleared in our zone and region. I don't think I realized how suffocating smoke is until it really leaves. So we haven't really had fires in our immediate zone, pretty close to us. But today, big rains and blue skies. So I'm stoked. Good morning.
Yay! I love blue.
We're in the same boat there. We just had it cleared up for us as well. So we're super happy. Last couple of days have been pretty nice and not quite getting the sunshine coming through, but pretty close. So it's all smiles over here.
So welcome everybody in chat. We got Sammy says tuning in already. We got Light Up Tim. What's up, Supreme Grape? How are you? D Brains, what's up? And we got K and C Gardens in the house. How are you all? Welcome. We're gonna puff one down. I'm taking a dab. Looks like Kelly just hit a bong rip. Drake, I think already just hit. I think I'm falling behind here because I'm talking. Yeah, they said my clones look good. That's my cloner over there. I'll show you guys those here in a minute. What do we want to jump into first, guys? Kelly, maybe garden talk? What do we want to talk about?
Ooh, we did see a really epic update recently from Kelly.
Find that, right? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Kelly. I mean, what's going on out here is we we're pulling a light dep right now. That's totally finished, and that's really exciting. Some really gorgeous, amazing hemp varietals that we've been working on for a really long time. Really looking forward to getting those tested out. We know that the terps are there. The garden that you're looking at right now is our mothership, and we really allow a lot of the seeds to go in there. So you'll see like some flowers and some seeds. The potatoes are going off this year. They love the rains. That's the mothership. The sunflowers this year, epic. The birds are really getting them. We just have whole lines of sunflowers because then it really draws the birds. And when you have the birds, then you have less insects and all of the right type of predator insects and not as many mosquitoes. So that's been really awesome. And they're fun to show off.
Look at that blue sky. Yes. Beautiful, man. You guys' property, I can't wait to get up there and see it. Oh.
Yeah, and we have a lot of our auto flowers sort of dispersed all around, and they're almost finished right now. Those are some of the heritage dahlias been working on for a long time. Our pollinators, I really do notice Goji Berries. The Goji Berries, I really recommend people planting Goji Berries, because anybody in the northern sort of hemisphere, anything like probably from Northern California and up on the West Coast and like on the East Coast, like Michigan, Minnesota, the Dakotas. Goji berries are so plentiful and they really, really love the winter and they love to be like frosted out. And one thing for sure though, is if you get heavy snow, you sort of want to protect them so that they don't break. So if you can get them underneath something or do some kind of a protection for them, goji berries are really plentiful in this region. So, and they're such an incredible superfood full of tons of antioxidants. And we're on our 3rd year of goji berries. And in 4 plants, we're picking gallons of them. And then we're putting them in the dehydrator right now. So to put them into all the granola, all of the squash is going off. It's just been.
I have to say that I kind of planted some goji berries, and they kind of took over some stuff that I didn't really want them to take over.
Yeah, they'll do that.
So I'm going to warn anybody, if you are going to plant goji berries, they kind of will take off on you. Like, be prepared to like put them in a bed or have like a way to contain them if you're going to try to plant them with other flowers. It didn't go so well. My other flowers are gone.
Right. They really need to be trellised up because
they start to fall over. Yes.
Yeah. And when they fall over, that's when they take over. And really, if you trellis them, you're going to get more berries. You'll get more berries that will ripen to a proper sweetness. Because when they're touching the ground, then the microorganisms start to, want to consume them and they don't get that proper ripening. So that's really important. It's to
they get that kind of bitter, kind of not so good taste. And then I just let the birds eat them and it's okay.
Yeah.
And do they also, from what you're saying with them falling down, do they root as soon as the tip hits the ground? Will they root from each one of those locations as well?
I haven't necessarily seen the rerouting. I've seen them want to sort of, dig into the ground a little bit with their edges, but they tend to be much more of a seeding varietal rather than a rhizomal varietal, even though they seem like they would be rhizomal, but they're not as much. They really seed very well.
Okay.
So wherever...
Like the overall size, when they fall down, they take over a huge plot. And then if they grow up again and fall over, they'll just start, taking more and more and then reseeding.
Yeah.
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 I was thinking they were reseeding when they were going down in.
Like really long.
We're having a little bit, we're having a
little
I
haven't seen them reroot, but sorry, I'm sure that it's my satellite out here. It's always a big problem. Yes, they definitely will root into the ground, especially if it's super wet. But then goji berries like dry also. So they are fine with super cold and really dry. So the ones that are in our greenhouses, the big mothership that's covered full year round, really are so prolific because the snow doesn't get on them in the wintertime and they're really able to throw out big shoots. So I don't really allow them to, go into the ground and root because then you just have to start cutting them. Yeah, that's all winter squash. That's just a Hugo bed, everyone. It's so 3 years old. We probably pull easy 1,000 pounds of squash out of there a year for our whole family and our animals. And right now we're pulling a ton of zucchini out of there, all of the summer squash for the grill. And I'm starting to can a bunch of zucchini bread. I love to put that in a jar and put it in the storage. It's really nice to steam bread in there. Those big hemp plants right there, those are Chinese hemp. It's been really fun. We're rebreeding those because, wow, their flowers are really going to finish out here up in BC. And that's just so exciting. And they're so showy and pretty glorious. You could still see the smoke from yesterday, but today, no more. Yep, and here we're headed into the mothership. And this has just become our seeding. You know, we have a lot of plants in there that we allow to seed, and we collect every year. Elderberries. I mean, just everything is so glorious and going off, especially after the big rains. And actually, I see a yellow tanager out of my window right now. And they're coming for all of the pine cones, all the coniferous pine cones.
I don't even know what that is. I don't think we have them here.
I think you do. You should look them up. And
Okay.
they have a yellow chest, a bright
Oh, look
yellow
at the
chest.
flowers. Now there's some pretty flowers.
Yeah, those are coming on big time. That's a whole greenhouse of hemp. And yeah, there it is. Gorgeous varietals. We've had just so much heavyweights in the greenhouses with the hemp that we've been working on now for about 5 years. So super beautiful health. They're all coming down at once. You know, we had a little bit of botrytis because of the smoke. That's always really hard when the plants don't get sunshine for 2 weeks at a time in the middle of their flower cycle. You know, cannabis farmers are out there having to look at every single one of the flowers every single day. It's a real stress. And that's hard on finishing flowers, but still everything is going great. And it's been fun. And I could say that greenhouse was not fed any teas at all this year. All we did was water, and we probably only watered maybe 5 times the entire summer. This greenhouse, same thing, no teas, none at all. This is happening right now. So this was just yesterday or maybe the day before. And we have a lot of land races in there, all of our crosses. Pretty much the majority of this greenhouse is all DragonFly Earth Medicine crosses. And maybe there's a few new varietals in there that we're trying out because they're friends and people that we know have good seeds. That's a glazed Zellies right there. The glazed Zellies, which is a glazed cherry times our Zellies gift, just is stocky and gorgeous and full of crystal. And I believe that's like a GAC times a Zellies. Just so many different varietals in there. And at the front, you can see there's some.
Whoops, go ahead, Cal.
Land race. So we have a couple of land races at the very beginning, and we were opening up the greenhouses today, and we were like, you know, yeah, you're going to be flowering for 16 weeks. They look like they're on week 1 of flower, you know, they're just going, those 2 little mighty ones at the front, which are actually a beautiful Milana cream that we got direct from friends in India. So we're really excited about how they grow out. They're not pulling a real nose yet because they just started throwing out their flowers, but we'll see once the crystals come. And that's the flower strip. We love to breed zinnias and have lots and lots of flowers going on in there. This was before the rains. It's like so green now, even just in a couple of days, which is great. I think when you have thousands of flowers around, you just feel like thousands of flowers are around.
I love it. I love it. And you've got that right.
This is our wall of peppers on the top of the Wally Peony. And this year the peppers are really going to go off. We're going to pull so many pounds of hot peppers. we'll do some fun things with that. And this greenhouse has already been, we're already starting to harvest it. So that's why it's starting to get sparse. And the wall of, this was Josh doing the filming. So that was we have a melon going on right there, and peppers, and just a lot of stuff. And it's all being harvested all at once with a 4 to 6 person crew, depending on who's here at the time. We're going around the clock. I'm not sure what varietal that is, but wow, that looks beautiful. I don't know which one that one is.
Gosh, they look so amazing, Kel. I just love looking at your garden.
Whole yard.
Yeah, it's so beautiful.
Yay.
So beautiful.
Yay. Well, thanks everybody for taking a walk in the garden.
Yeah, how'd y'all like the garden
fun.
tour this morning? Gosh. You guys want to see more? Let me know. You got any questions for Kelly? Let us know. It's time for another dab and say hello to chat out there. Who do we got hanging out with us? If we have any questions, let me make sure I haven't left out any questions, because sometimes I get going over here. What's up? Hey, Crazy Cass, welcome. How are you? Sam Hits tuning in. Welcome, guys. Good morning. Hope you start the day off right. Well, what else? What do you guys got planned for this week? Just harvesting, it sounds like, huh, Kel? You got lots of harvesting and canning. And have you, I freeze dried some apples yesterday. I love freeze dried apples. Oh my God, they're so good.
Yeah, I've been making these gorgeous tea blends. So I've been freeze drying all of the goji berries and freeze drying a bunch of the other berries that we've been having. And I dehydrated a whole bunch of apples and heavily cinnamoned them. So I put a bunch of cinnamon powder on top of them and then dehydrated them. So they're all going into the tea blend with a bunch of nettle and a bunch of spearmint and some chamomile. And I'm doing a whole bunch of different tea blends and getting that rolling for the season also. So, and we're just like, it's funny, this is always the time of year when the new crops are coming in, and anything that's left over from last year gets turned into just all the salves, all the oils, all the RSOs, things that are really nice to have high THC for topical or for, mostly just, that kind of stuff going into it. So we're just like rolling right now on pretty much anything that needs to be put up and stored. It's happening right now. Fermenting crocks are getting ready to come out. I was just dusting them off yesterday, and we're finishing up the last of our kimchi. So some cabbage just got pulled. We're having kraut now. So freaking abundant. It's and it's hard because you can't really weed because we're pulling everything. So now it just gets to be crazy garden with just so much abundance and weeds and crazy shit everywhere. And I just sort of love this time of year. There's always a surprise of like a 45-pound zucchini in something somewhere.
Like the hunt through the garden. And this time of the year is definitely busy, but it's so beautiful. And when everything just starts to take over together and just kind of grow in unison, it's pretty amazing. And you just see how the life reflects too. They love it just as much as we do, if not more.
Yeah, I'm feeling so incredibly blessed, more than ever. I think when other people who don't have a farm or maybe don't even have a plot of land, they look at it and are just thinking a lot about how amazing it is and how lucky it is and all of those, how blessed you are to have that land. And I really wake up feeling that every single day. I truly feel that. And also the other side of that, in order to gain that, is just the 24/7. When you have a farm and you have so many plants, it's just like having like a newborn, or a bunch of goats that you're taking care of, or you may even have goats on your farm as well. It's just around the clock. So that love of the farm has to continue giving in order for us to continue giving. And that's why it's so abundant, is that if you just continue giving, and it really plays over into anything that you do in your life. If you're giving continuously to something, without expectations back, and you're just doing it out of the love of your heart, and you're doing it because it feels good to you, then you're gonna get like amazing gifts out of it. And then you don't see it as something that is just difficult, or you don't always see it as the uphill part of the hike. You see that when you're hiking uphill, you get to go downhill. So, and the more that you hike uphill, the more downhill that you get to go. And the more energy that you put into something that you love, the more you get out of it. And I was just talking to one of my cancer patients yesterday, and just like really reflecting even the difficulties in life, how is it that we can take what this particular amazing person is working on right now in his life, which is his cancer and his health and well-being, and turn it into like this beautiful lesson and gift? Because if he gives to it and he is continuously, putting love into it and putting love into himself, then that's what he's going to get out of it. And, if you put hardship into something, or if you put fear into something, or if you put overwhelmed into something, then that's what you're going to get out of it. So even though our gardens right now are really crazy and very overwhelming, it's like, that's exactly what we put into it. We worked and put love and abundance and good energy and good vibrations. And now it's just an overwhelming outpouring of love and abundance. So, it's awesome that in farming, you get to see it in one season. And that's only if you've been working on your soil for a really long time, or you just happen to, land in a place that has good soil, which is almost impossible now. But once you get your gardens to that point, just like anything, it takes a lot of time. So anyway, just a quick reflection on life, I guess.
I have to say, I 100% agree with everything you say. And especially with like you get out of your garden what exactly you put into it. Like with this Jadam practices and with the natural farming practices, it is like literally like it is time consuming, and gardens are time consuming. But if you don't like spend that time and quality time, like time that you want to be in there, and like just put your heart into it, and it's amazing what you'll get back. It really is. Drake's garden is freaking killing it this year. His outside garden is like, you guys got to see it, Kelly, didn't you?
Oh my gosh, Drake is so healthy, so vibrant. He's taken this little urban, like anyone can do it. If you all see Drake has done, you would realize anyone can do it. He's taken this small area and turned it into a glorious Eden, health and vitality, and a stopping point for pollinators, and even the air to through your gardens to become clean in like a suburban environment. Like, just so much gratitude to you for upholding an oasis of nature that she so dearly needs in environments like that.
Thank you so much for the kind words, both of you. I just humbled. It's the whole reason for all of it is to show that we can do it for the most part wherever we are. And I'm even bringing a lot of these practices even smaller into a little indoor scale, and not as small as it could be, but a little, just one small bedroom, and being able to utilize these practices and work and do everything we can to kind of be as sustainable as possible for an indoor setup, and make all the same nutrients and amendments and microbes and wetting agents and the sulfur for any of the fungal issues and so on and so forth for so cheap. And then it's just all steps, right? Like we can only do so much. Like here, I can't really do a ton more than I am. I'm working at it. I'm going to do everything in my power. But as you've seen, it's a pretty small area. I'm restricted by being, near schools, and like I've got neighbors like I could touch my neighbor's house. So you really just have to work with the areas you have provided and do what you can do. But as long as you are trying and you're getting somewhere and you can be passionate about it, that's something I wanted to hit on when Tara was saying, lots of this stuff does take a fair amount of time, but it only feels like a little bit of time, because if you love what you're doing, there's not too much where you're like, oh, I have to go and do this. It's kind of like, oh, I'm done everything. And like, oh, for me, I'm still having like a lot of free time in a sense where I'm still so passionate. I get to kind of go and learn the things I was confused about, or ask questions, or watch any of these other various places and hubs for information. So it's fantastic, and it's being passionate is what really wraps it all up. So then same thing, to hop back to the garden again, thank you so much. And it's nothing, it is like, for everyone out there, it is just a humble little garden, and I haven't done much more than some proper foundational work and giving the plants kind of what they need with some smelly little ferments. All those weeds around my property, I just take those and put them into a pot and ferment them. And we've spoken about it many a times, so without getting into it, there isn't a whole bunch of expensive inputs. It's not costing a whole bunch of money. It's just costing a bit of knowledge. So you have to sit there, you got to learn, you have to be open, you have to realize sometimes you might learn something, and then later down the road you might learn, well, that wasn't quite the best way to go about it. Maybe I can evolve and change a little bit. And as long as there's no hesitation, restrictions there, and you kind of stuff that ego away, you're going to excel so quickly. And it's where there's a lot of demonstrations of how it can be done. And that's really one of the main things. So what I'm trying to do here is just show off what a little farmer can do, what a little person who doesn't have many options can make work. So again, thank you so much. And yeah, everyone out there, you can do it for sure. And we're just slowly trying to help show off some of the things that can be done. So here was a few weeks ago, some of the plants, and they're the same thing. They're pretty wide. They're about 6-7 feet wide, most of them. They're 6 to 8 feet tall. This lime green one down in the middle there is a Roberts Creek Congo. So that's my one crazy plant of the year, because where we are, we can't even get an 8-weeker to finish nicely. And I'm trying the old 13-week Congo, and I'm not doing any light depth. Here's a little auto that's just run in between some of the plants. I put autos in between every one of my plants. I just didn't give them any extra attention. So a lot of them didn't make it. And that's due to them not getting any, like there was no real waterings. They get once a week. I give treatments to the garden. And here's some of the smelly ferments that honestly aren't that bad. And with time, there's a let's call it a curing phase. So they get a little bit worse initially, and then they start to actually even out. It gets a little more subtle, I find, and almost like it's like even my bucket on the far left there, that's like a big tote of just grass weeds and other plants, just a diverse collection from spring to now. It really is kind of cured up in a way that's not as horrible. But I know Tara is she's got some ideas.
I have to say, like, I just want to say to all you little boys out there, are you afraid of a little smell? Is it scary?
Oh, see, even better. I love it. Tara's even on board. And
are you scary little boys? You're afraid of a little stinky. It's okay.
And you can be careful. There's ways to get around it. So like, yeah, having a bin of something is going to be rather smelly. But when you have it kind of sealed, not fully sealed, because as I've found in many others, some of these build a lot of pressure to start. And if you pressurize a 5-gallon bucket and it's full of smelly ferment, have fun thinking about how you're going to solve that situation. But when you do it correctly and you have it just semi-sealed, there's not too much smell. There's little things like if you have your
wood char. Say if you have some hemp stalks and you do your wood ash from that, you can add a little bit of that on top, and it kind of acts like the charcoal filter, so on and so forth. But it's really not that horrible. And then if you do things like, I had a post recently, and it's following somewhat of the technique that's practiced of using like a milk crate. And it's just milk crate wouldn't, my paint strainer bag wouldn't fit over it, but essentially just get a vessel that'll fit inside your main vessel that's got holes in it. Ideally, if you had like one of the, like a really big tea bag would be amazing. Like, you know, those like metal, like the like either or. What I've got here is a 5-gallon bucket. I've drilled a bunch of holes in it. I've put a paint strainer bag over top of it, and I've plunged her down in there with some rocks to hold it down in the bottom. And now I'm able to scoop out with my measuring cup a lot cleaner, a bit filtered JLF. And it's just same thing. Just be careful with all of it, right? If you're
the appearance of that water looks like it's jelly. It's not, just so you know, everybody out there. It kind of looks like it's almost jelly to me. It looks jelly. Does it look jelly to you? It's not though, right?
No, it's more liquid.
Okay.
It's just because you can also see kind of the pretty drop. The one.
Yeah,
nice-
I was just saying the drop on the side gives that away. If you notice, I just wanted to make sure people know that if it's not jelly. So even though that picture kind of looks like it, so you know what the appearance looks like, because people are just learning this stuff. And I find out I'm so worried about giving the wrong information or, you know, misinformed information, because it's so hard to relearn some of this stuff when you're taught wrong. And Drake and I are really trying to be careful about that.
It's really tough too, because we're just constantly learning. So all we could do, and anyone out there that's on platforms such as this or any other one, when we're talking about stuff, if we learn something new and we realize maybe, or even just say something wrong, we have to do our best to go back and amend that. Because there's a lot of the time where even when we do that, half the people aren't gonna see that or make the correlation anyways, and they're still going to be unfortunately misinformed. And you know, it's going to happen just because we're all human and we're learning, so it is what it is. But as long as we do as much as we can to try and eliminate that and get out good information, that's the best. And everything, lots of this is just our opinions and how things are working for us in our specific environments too. So you've got to take it with a grain of salt in a sense, but it all comes down to just growing and the love for it. So much love, everyone. And I hope everyone gets a chance to grow if you're not yet. And if you're growing, happy growing.
And, you know, I find that when we do our ferments, they don't smell at all except for 1 to 2 hours when we take it from our anaerobic into our aerobic tank and we bubble it. It smells, if you're standing around the tank, for only about 1 to 2 hours afterward, because the anaerobic ferment that we do doesn't smell, because it really like seals that in. It's anaerobic. If we do anything, we might push it in, you know, push some of the material in and underneath in the fermenting bucket, you know, but it doesn't have really a smell at all. So, you know, there's lots of different types of fermenting, and just like you all were saying, specific, you know, ferments, you want to be able to get it right in specific, you know, directions and instructions. And also there's other ways of being able to, you know, just do big ferments if you have the capabilities, or if you have a zone or area, or maybe if you're putting in a bunch of fruit trees, it's so easy to slop together, you know, like really big ferments and not necessarily have to do it, you know, perfectly, because what you're basically doing, no matter what line of thought, is that you're making a liquid compost. That's what you're doing. You're creating a liquid compost. And by creating a liquid compost, you're making it so the compost is faster. The liquid component of the composting just makes it faster, because when we liquefy things, they break down faster. So there's so many different ways to compost above ground and in different piles. And there's a lot of different ways to liquid compost as well. So it's just really good to, you know, look at all of the different modalities and possibilities. And even if you just have the capabilities to grab, you know, 2 55-gallon barrels, because those are really easy to get. And you want to, stuff a bunch of leaves and a bunch of plant material and grass clippings and shit that you have into there, and slop it out onto somewhere. I mean, I don't recommend that at all for indoor and for people that are following the Jadan like to the T, and people that are doing it the way that all are doing it, which I think is really important to follow like instructions and get it right, just like you all are doing for your, people that are really wanting to learn it. Also people that might have like outdoor plots, to just not be intimidated by all of the protocols that you have to do. There's so many different ways of liquid composting plant material. I just talked a lot.
You hit on so many great points. And so let's see if I can remember a couple to address them. First of all, yes, just yes to all of it. It's all about what you can do and what works best for your environment. And that's kind of encompassing that exactly. So one of the main things is, is like even a 5-gallon bucket. If you're small and little, and even if you're indoor, if you're getting a little crazy with it, just get your little 5-gallon bucket, get a diverse amount of weeds, fill it up with soft water. If you can get a little indigenous soil from around, ideally some leaf mold soil, to add in there and let her sit for about a month. Safe to add that 1 to 100, I would even say, and to your average water, and let her rip. And you'll see how far that goes and how well the plants respond, because that's just all the available plants in your indigenous area. That's just breaking down and what's available for your plants and for the microbes that have already been cultivated in your area. So the ones that are already there, when you add that to them, if you're outdoors, just start munching on it right away. And the interactions they have with the roots and the trading, it's a pretty fabulous system. But please go ahead, Sarah.
And honestly, right now, if you guys are like afraid to try this, try it on your grass. Like, who doesn't have some grass or weeds around that they could throw something on to try it on? Like I have tried a lot on my grass, and like I killed some of my grass. Okay. So I went and I used some, I made a lot of this year. I made a lot of JMS this year. I made a lot of JMS. And instead of taking it out and dumping it like I should have, I just kind of dumped it right in one spot a whole bunch of times, and it killed it, so you need to learn, and it's okay to learn on grass, like not grass, weed grass, but grass, other grass. You know what I mean?
Mowing grass, not smoking grass.
Lawn.
And I really find that if you are doing a fast liquid ferment, no matter what it is that you want to call it, that's what you base it down to, is the liquid ferment, water ferment. A lot of those are ready even within 5 days. So, a month, sure. But, within 5 days, we realize that the anaerobic, especially in the summertime, is totally complete. We used to bring out a microscope. Now I just give it a little taste and a little smell. I know when it's ready now, just the same as, when you bake a bunch of cakes, when one is done, or when you've done a good recipe. It's just something that you get to understand and know.
Like I describe it like a yeast. Like you can smell like a yeast. It's like baking.
Yeah. For me, it smells like when it's done in the way that I want it to be done, which is where I know that the microbial life is just super, super high and rich, and I'll be able to continue, excuse me, I'll be able to continue the ferment and use a lot of that material that I'm straining from as another sort of like, as you're talking about yeast, I'll use that as another mother culture for the next plant material that we'll put it in. So it sort of like continues going on during our entire season. And the smell that I'm going for is like when you leave salad greens in a bag and they're just past good, and they smell a little bit like rotting salad greens, where you almost could eat it because you're camping and shit, there's a couple of leaves of salad and I really want it for my sandwich, but it's, it just has that smell I'm not looking for. That's the smell that I go for when we want to take it from an anaerobic into the aerobic.
And it's also different. And Tara, I believe you were even mentioning the smell on like one of our Jadam microbial.
It was JMS that I was smelling the yeast on, is what I was actually saying. On the JMS, I could smell really alive activeness. Like I could really change, and it really changed. Like if you smell it every single day and like you really know it does change. Like it's like, oh, all of a sudden it's like, nope, this is definitely not the thing. If you have a good smeller, unfortunately right now, people's smellers are being taken away. So, luckily I have a good smeller, and smeller, that tells me a lot. I smell the soil. I smell every time I go out and do a leaf mold soil collection, I smell it. I'm like, oh, I just have to smell it. Like it's so important to me. I don't know.
Just like the flowers, right? You can go in there and you know, getting to at least the final week, you start getting that different nose and things really start to come to life. And it goes like that across platform with a lot of different things that we're dealing with. Smell is one of the parameters we use.
So, Miss River out there, I know she says she's got the Jadam book, and I know Kelly's froze. That was cute.
That's awesome. Thumbs up.
But River out there, I hear you. I know when I got that Jadam book, it is so overwhelming. But luckily, Drake and I have been having a friend that's been helping us on the back end, a really amazing mentor, and we're trying to learn this for you guys. So I would say by like the first of the year, maybe Drake and I could start maybe doing like a beginner Jadam class we could start offering for you guys, and we'll go over it on YouTube. We're kind of gearing up for that, but we really want to be prepared first and kind of try it a little bit before just saying, hey, we took one class and here we are to tell you what we know, because it's bullshit, sorry. I might be going off about a few other people.
Well, and hey, there's a lot to it, and that was one of the things I did want to bring up that Kelly had addressed prior to. So thank you for shooting me back into that. With all the especially all the bucket stuff I have, that's pretty daunting, and that's way out of the conventional practice for any Jadam farmer. That's more because I'm such a small scale. I get to do all the little fun tricks, and it's like most of the time you want your farm to operate kind of like a transit bus, and it always gets from A to B. You know what you're getting. It's working. It's good to go. But if you have a small little area like mine and you really want to go get to the tip of the iceberg, you can take it really further. So the analogy is kind of more like a Ferrari, right? But now you have to do all the maintenance on it, and you have to make sure that tires are always good, and so so on and so forth, without going into cars too much. And with it, for the average person, for the average 2-acre or larger farm, all you really have to do is proper foundational work, and then depending on what you harvest, you apply back in a little bit extra base fertilizer. And occasionally you can add some additional fertilizer, which any of our liquid fertilizers, like take all these grass clippings and so on and so forth. And this is grass clippings from anyone's environment, anywhere nearby, any of these weeds, anything you can get, as long as it's hopefully not sprayed with Roundup or any awful chemicals, can be the constituents for that. And then just soft water. And ideally we'll teach you how to get some leaf mold soil. That's one of the things we're a little anal with. But it's pretty easy overall to do these main core concepts. You just have to follow the recipe properly. It's just like grandma's cake. If you don't follow the recipe, it's not going to bake properly. It's unfortunately, you do have to follow.
You're not going to get a live organism in there. You're not going to smell a nice thing. Like some people literally don't understand how to go collect leaf mold soil because it's been taught so randomly weird.
But on the same, like on the other face of the same coin, just doing that in general, even if it's poor and improper, is most likely going to be an improvement in general to a lot of people's systems. So that's one of the things where it's just like, just doing this stuff is so beneficial. It can at least open your eyes and expand your perception of what these could be. And then you're really going to look at it and go, well, maybe I should try doing this for this reason, and start listening and seeing what these people have done for 20 years and why they think we should adulter it this way, and, kind of working on it more. But the whole thing is to just do something. But again, catching back to it, even following the practice to a T, the base root way of doing it, the base root way, the base way of doing it is still pretty simple and not too daunting. You only have a few things you need to do, and then it's like every couple weeks you can stretch it and have your application, or if depending where your location is, sometimes you only work with the rain. So when it rains, you can work accordingly and apply a little bit of food or some microbes. And other than that, it's not much required at all. So it goes both ways. You can kind of take it to an extreme, but definitely don't be scared off by it, because you can implement kind of any facet of these principles from whatever the natural farming techniques are, and you're probably going to have success. Like LAB, it's something that I'm now very cautious with, but initially when I first learned and was making it really excited about it, it was like a godsend at the time, for sure. And it's great to utilize. But there's just things like that where just one little thing, if you try it, you're going to be hooked, because it's going to work so well for your system. So now I'm the one rambling and talking too much, so I'll take a bong rip. But yeah, any little thing can be a great addition. So.
And yeah, I think that in nature, she just does a lot of layering and, different timing with the layering, and it's not out in a recipe. And some years, because the silkworms get a lot of the deciduous leaves, and there's that in one year, and maybe the earth doesn't get nailed up the conditioning that nature, for people to remember too, that layer things. Oh, I don't think it's working.
You're good.
You're back now. But we just got the beginning and the end, which essentially just expressed that the layering's awesome, which we know, but we did miss the middle big explanatory chunk of layering. So do you mind readdressing on that?
I was just saying that, Mother Nature doesn't do necessarily specifics, and there's different succession of bushes and layering that happens with seasons and leaves dropping. And sometimes silkworm will be in massive overgrowth and they take over all of the deciduous leaves. So maybe the forest doesn't get deciduous leaves that year. Maybe it only gets some of the coniferous, but it's still making good soil. It still is the idea that not everything is exact every single year. So it's good to really look at nature and continuously, realize that mimicking that sort of adds a little bit of magic, and you really can't do it wrong. You really can't. If you're layering, different types of material that come from nature or plants, or if you are putting anything into water compost, it usually is going to work out. And I think that when you get more exact recipes, you're just finiting it to something that's more exact and something that's going to touch on, something exact in your garden that you're looking for. And that's awesome. We just get better sometimes at our craft. Or you just realize that you take on more garden and more land, and you want to keep it simple, and you want to slop your liquid composts all over the place. And that works too. So I just like you're saying, just encourage people to just get in there and make mud pies and experience nature and get health and well-being from positive, beneficial microbes that we all so dearly need at this time of super high toxicity in the world.
Do as nature does. It's our favorite thing, right? That's the whole principles. And I love how you mentioned the soil or succession I suppose, just in general. But then soil succession is so important, and that's even just to readdress on the point you just made with the collections. If you go out in like somewhere like myself, where it's all pine and coniferous trees out there, and I go out and I collect a whole bunch of the leaf duff and the leaf mold soil from around there, it's most likely gonna be a great input and work well. But if we now look at soil succession and we look at all the plants that we're growing in our garden and we start following that chart, we're gonna stop somewhere around here, and then the pine is gonna be somewhere around here, and that's gonna be all the microbes that are used to dealing with that specific environment. And they're still gonna be great workers and super diverse to the billions per one scoop of a tablespoon, but they're still gonna be like, they're used to fighting the war in the heat. And now you're bringing them into the tropics. So it's like, they're still going to do all right, but they're kind of going to be sweaty and not set up for the area. So like, we're still trying to just do as nature does, and nature sets up certain parameters. And that's the exact same thing here. And it's when we can have the diversity overall, because that's the ideal collections of everything, you get to encompass all of it. That's the goal. And it's the same thing. It's as easy as just starting with one area, with one little thing, with some basic preparation, and just doing what you can do and seeing how it works and getting inspired. And that's what started it for all of us. I can guarantee it. And amazing mentors like these, like Tara.
Yeah. Like Miss Kelly, who inspired it all. Yeah, Miss Kelly.
But I want
these guys are really what inspire me every day, you guys. I think of DragonFly Earth Medicine every day. They introduced me to mushrooms, that whole mushroom brand and the cocoa. That I swear the mushrooms have started a healing path of their own. I think those are amazing. My husband, oh my God, it was the coolest thing. We went out mushroom hunting and he found a reishi. That's the first one we've ever found. Ever. And I'm like, yes, you found one. I was so excited. Like, yeah, because like I'm just learning about all this shit. It's so cool.
Yep, I was gonna say, like right when I was getting inspired into all this, into this way of doing everything, I reached out to a lot of people, and it was just to pretty well say thank you for
Yeah.
Oh, Kelly's coming in.
I can say that through all of our teammating, I'm coming in, seems like such a delay.
I'll just stop your video. I'm going to stop your video. Go ahead.
Okay, maybe that will help. I was just wanting to say that, out of all of the years of us doing fast ferments, liquid ferments, hot compost piles, cold compost piles, mulching, just really working with what we had here on our land, just repurposing it, remediating it, putting it back into the soil. We've never had an experience, not one time, of killing anything. We've never, and we really have slopped on the most, and I'm not recommending this to anyone. I'm just saying that even at the very rudimentary level, nature is so forgiving in her breakdown of microbiology and how she has succession in the breakdown that she, provides. We have had the stinkiest teas, before we even knew about it. And this is in the 90s, we used to have just teas that just smelled like low tide after like 8 days, and we would still put it on the plants because we thought, because the people that were our mentors from before that were growing right out of the Vietnam War were telling us, the stinkier the teas, the better. So we were like, all right, we got a stinky tea. So that was like something that we were sort of almost going for. And not one time did we ever kill a plant. Not ever did we ever see any wilting, anything like that. I do believe that that's a rudimentary, we can get better at that, but it just goes to show you that the breakdown of nature is already intelligent without our needing to fiddle fart around in it all the time too. So it's awesome to get finite and better at it, but Mother Nature does it already amazing on her own, no matter
So-
how you want to mix it up.
That ties in perfectly with my roots over here. Did I say roots or roots? I don't know. I can't remember how I say it right because I say it wrong to begin with. But anyways, I have a cloner over here, and I literally, you guys, I took a cactus, not this poor cactus thing. I just got this one, a big cactus one that I have, and I pulled a branch off. I literally stuck those little tips in the bottom after I cut them, and then stuck them right in that cloner over there. And I'll show you the roots again. And that's all I did on these, was literally right there. There you go. There's the proof. And it's like literally that is all I have been doing, is doing the aloe vera tech with that cloner. I really like it. I'm not selling those cloners. I don't have like a sponsorship. I paid for that one. I love it. It's a turbo cloner. It has the fan on the side, so it constantly keeps the water cool. In fact, maybe I should show you. Do you guys want to see? I'll turn it on. I could turn the cloner on, and then you can see it with this on it. Let me do that. So you actually can kind of see. Can you see inside there? I don't know. There you go. You can see. And there you go. There's the roots. There you go. Big. And they've been in here for like 3 weeks now. Not that I recommend putting them in for 3 weeks. It's literally because I was gone and I knew they would stay safe in my cloner without me having to worry about watering them while I was gone to the cup. So I literally knew I could leave them in there. So I just kind of want to show you guys a few little tricks that I have learned, that I didn't have to worry about planting them and coming back and finding dead plants. So here's the clear dome that goes on the top. The only thing I would like, if you're a person that makes this out there, a taller dome, but maybe I can find one. I haven't looked. But okay, so there you go. Turn that on and just make sure that the water's spraying everywhere and it just comes all around here. And I just go in and make sure the nozzles are working all the time, and you can see that there's water spraying, and that's it. Easy, easy peasy. I didn't put anything else in the bottom, except for I did put some stones in my local area in the bottom, and some what's that, the red one, lava rock. And I don't know why, but I think it keeps the slime and the water cleaner. I have no idea. Maybe it's the microorganisms on the rocks. No clue. It's something I have just noticed. It's nothing I'm claiming. So there you go. There you have it. And my chair is wet. And I think we've kept Kelly long enough. Let me see if we can get Kelly's video back on here.
Family, it's me.
Video. Oh, Josh, she's there. Hey.
Amy.
Yeah, look at that.
What's
Look at
going
it.
on,
The
family?
sex change just happened. No, I'm just joking.
Happened?
I have crystals on my nose. I've obviously been harvesting, so
Oh, yummy. Awesome. Well, let's take a
I like
bong
the
rip.
idea.
Go ahead.
I like the idea of putting some crystals down in the base of that as well, along with the rocks, just to give it the kind of cosmic, vibration.
I'm all for those
And-
crystals. You know it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, just running water through sand, can clean the water, like the bio sand filters and stuff like that. And so, having rocks in there, I could see where that would just add enough of your biology to it that it would just keep the water happy.
Yeah, it
love
just
it.
does. I don't know. It's just something I've noticed. I started doing it a while back when I started playing with JMS, and I, starting to put the rocks in the socks, and I got cool rocks. And I got a lot of cool rocks. Like, I had those rocks on the altar that I took to the hive. I still have those. And, it was just like, all these rocks mean a lot. They're kind of cool. Different rocks from different areas.
That's beautiful. Nice work.
Oh, hey.
Nice work.
I think we need a bong rip because Josh is here, and Bingo Lombardi in chat, I'm sure, is going to yell this out any minute. Bong rip.
Bingo, this one's for you, Bingo Lombardi.
There you go, Bingo. Woo! And we got Weedus out there. We got River in the house. We got Supreme Grape. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out today. And Gingerbug, we really love you guys coming in and hanging out with us every week, as we do on Wednesdays and Saturday mornings. Try to go live at 9-ish, We're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Hey, we're doing good. Are we like on our 28th? Is that what I put on today? We're like on our number 28th. That's awesome, Drake. Congratulations. We're keeping strong, right? Woo! Can't even remember what I wrote.
One thing I would add for fun about the layering, and I like the way the smoke is going right now.
That's cool.
But I fell in love with cottonwood trees on a deeper level this year, like the black cottonwood. It's such a magnificent, water tree in this area, and everywhere that you find a slough or where the earth accumulates water, maybe it's near a river or whatever, the top of the lake. We have this huge lake we live on, 100 kilometers long, and at the top of it's these cottonwoods. And in the springtime, it blooms like cotton, the seed that when the leaf forms in the very beginning, it's coated in a resin, which is also kind of like a Balm of Gilead. But if you look up exactly Balm of Gilead, it's like a specific tree, but it's essentially a poplar. And the black cottonwood
comes from the cottonwoods that we have here.
Yeah, and the black cottonwood, so that when the leaf pops in bud form, we take that leaf off and we make medicine from it. Is it benzoin? It's a benzoin type.
Yeah,
it's a preservative.
We have one of those in our backyard, but not a black one. It's like a hybrid cotton, like a poplar.
Oh yeah,
cotton.
the ones that grow and
really tall
for pulp, maybe. Yeah.
Well, if they put out,
it was a volunteer,
beautiful buds, then they'll put out resin. Nice. They'll put out resin, and that resin is called Balm of Gilead, is like the old name of it. But actually, it's what benzoin, what Josh said, is made out of, and that's a preservative. So those of you who like to make salves or topicals, it's a really amazing addition. That's a super easy thing to collect and get, and add to your salves so that your salves don't mold or start to turn.
Yeah.
And it will preserve them.
And it's definitely like a million-year-old smell. Like it's one of those smells when you smell it, you're like, oh my God, I just tapped into every single lifetime I've ever had, because the smell it's otherworldly. So the cottonwood first pops up an amazing bud, the poplar bud, which you can make into the and you can put it in oil and extract into oil. It's amazing. And then what next drops off is the seeds bloom, and it puffs off cotton. And in the spring, you can see in the air just essentially this puffballs flying through the air all over the place. Entire ground surface is covered in this little cotton fuzz. And then you're like, oh shit. And then the coniferous, leaves fall on top of the cotton. Then the thimbleberries and the different leaves, tend to fall. And you realize this cotton layer is this amazing microbiology growth layer. So right after the winter, everything's flattened from snow. Then you get this magical kapok is the tropical version, which is a sweet tree. Look up the kapok tree from the tropics. Very tall, amazing. They used to use it for pillows and life jackets. In the tropics, it's much more cotton. But up here, the cottonwood, also, when the tree falls, it makes incredible soil. And it's basically like a sponge for indigenous microorganisms. So anything around the cottonwood, any of the leaves, the leaf duff, any of that leaf mold underneath the cottonwood is total magic. Also, all the catkins that come off. If anyone doesn't know what a catkin is, in the springtime, all of the leafy trees put out these little catkins, which is part of the pollination. And those catkins there's papers out there that say that it kills COVID.
SARS.
It kills this this sickness, which there's a lot of different names for.
It helps deaden the spike proteins is what it's, but there's a lot of herbs that do that, just so everybody knows. And alder catkins actually are one of those things. But it's really cool to just think about the succession of the forest, like plants and trees that come up in areas that are disturbed, or there's been like a big landslide. The things that come up first are the ones that are more independently successive, like with what Josh said. They put out this incredible fluff, which is the same as what the fireweed does. And that fluff really does lay down on the ground.
The foundation.
And then it rains, and it becomes the foundation of all of the microbiology to then start coming up to the surface. It's like fishing continuously through its life so that it knows that it can digest the entirety of its seasonal givings every year. And it's just cool to think about how everything will do that if you just sit and watch long enough or pay attention. And that's basically what all of these teachings that we're learning about, whether it be KNF, whether it be jaw dam, whether it be, mulching and layering from 1800s, whether it be weed teas from the old Quakers, no matter how you look at it,
whether
it's just cool
groundwater,
think about it.
Whether it's groundwater sequestration from making swales and hugelkultur mounds like Sepp Holzer does in Austria, it's all just, everything falling on itself. And then you can do that in an indoor garden too. You just got, you got to figure out what layers you want and start layering. It's sweet. Very exciting. What do you got there, Coco?
A jar of hash.
Yes.
So
sister.
I want to know if anybody out there, or if you guys have ever just ran farmer's grade hash through bubble bags. Would it clean it up better than trying to dry sift?
And I've never
might be
run it. I think it
stickier.
would be too sticky.
Yeah, but
I
if you did it all cold, it'd have to be ice, right? You'd freeze it all. You'd have to do the same like coldness and everything and put it in ice. Could you run it through like that type to cleanse it? I don't know. I'm like, hey, I might just try it.
Why not? Give it a try.
Small batch to try for fun.
I'm just not into this dry sifting thing. It's just I've dry sift
Takes a lot of
this
effort.
whole
Freeze dry.
static thing. I really don't think it's quite gonna be that. I don't think there's that static tech that everybody think that there really is out there. I think it's something easy, little, and it's not that great. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Prove me in the future. I'd love it, but I'm kind of feeling like I just kind of want to take the whole bottle of jar of hash, and just like run it through bags. So you guys, I don't know, give me some votes, comment after the video. I don't know. We'll see. Stay tuned.
You could freeze dry it and then press it into rosin. And that's what we've done a lot with farmer grade
Yeah.
hash.
You could temple
smells
ball
good.
it as well. Obviously, temple balling it would be sweet.
Oh,
'Cause then you're
dude.
just
Temple balls are us right now. I am totally temple balling it because in honor of our Frenchie cannoli. I love you, Frenchie. I've been temple balling it all yesterday. I had these amazing friend of mine go down to Hood River, Red River, help me do some hash. And this is some hash that I ran through my freeze dryer for the first time. And I have been using temple balls in my bong or my dab rig yesterday all day. And I did one this morning too. So maybe I should do another one before we leave live. Should we do one more dab and let these guys go on their way? And do you guys have any more big things you want to talk about or anything? Any questions in chat? Drake, did you get enough to chat about today? I know you got sulfur and stuff you got to do and all kinds of other crap.
Is it clear in Vernon today?
We already talked about that.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I wasn't there. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm actually going through. It's like 50-50 which way it's going to go. So we'll see. And yeah, I've got the trellising to get on for sure. Sulfurin I've missed about. That's only done first thing in the morning. So we'll see. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, but if it rains again here, then it makes sense because I don't want it to rain right after. So we'll see. Should be doing that. But yeah, mainly
Okay, so instead of rain dance, we're doing rain dabs.
Rain dabs, sure.
Nice.
We need rain everywhere in the world right now. So, well, not everywhere, but most places, a large majority of it.
We don't need any more rain just right here. We're really praying for it everywhere else. We're okay with no rain right here. We're good.
Ring of the property.
We're in the geoengineering belt for the Bonneville Dam system. So they keep us nice and wet with their airplanes.
That's for sure. We're going to get going too. And we wanted to just give a shout out to everybody who's listening and everybody out there, and just pass on all of our love. We're just thinking about our community, our culture of cannabis enthusiasts, as well as cannabis medicine makers, and, just lots of love out there to everybody. And of course, Miss Tarly, I love you. You were saying that you think about us all the time. Well, I think about you all the time, and how you're just continuously making people feel good, and you're always just putting out all of your good vibe, and just big ups to you. And Drake, it was just so incredibly wonderful coming to your garden and seeing you and meeting your partner and your dog, and being
Ducks.
in real life, and your ducks, and you sharing your space
Passion.
with us, and your passion, and
The blessing.
just so much love to you guys. And I just can't wait to see you in person too, Miss Tarly.
Today we're gonna harvest goji berries and elderberries and apples.
Yep, gonna put some in the freeze dryer, put them in some tea and some granola.
We have to do a freeze dryer show next, because we want to talk about if anyone has any experience changing over their a home freeze dryer to the pharmaceutical grade with the different program. Does that make it harder to do food or not? Do you have to go back to the original program to do food? I have some questions on freeze drying next
show.
Well, I put apples in my I have a pharmaceutical one, and I put apples in mine, and but I did them really thin, and they were dry overnight real quick. So I don't know. We'll have to, my husband has the regular food one, so we'll have to do some comparisons. We just haven't done enough yet.
I believe it equates down to just more parameters with the pharmaceutical, so it should be completely good to go. But
yeah,
we have a freeze dryer episode nonetheless, and get some real experienced hash and food processors here and see what they have to say.
That would be good. That would be good to get that on. I would love to do that. Let's do a show on that. Okay, you guys stay right here because I got to talk to you after the show. But hey, everybody out there, thanks for hanging out with us. Drake, any final words?
Peace and love. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, and if you're so inclined, give it a share. We will see you next time. Tara Lee Live. Much love, Josh and Kelly. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys. And you can always find us over on Instagram. Same name, Tara Lee Live over there. DM me there if you really need to get a hold of me. I check that almost daily. So have a fantastic day, and we'll see you again next Saturday and Wednesdays.